Hey guys, how's it going today? I'm lucky enough here to have the PlayStation DualSense Edge controller, and I figured I'd give it a review. Compared to, I have a aim controller for PlayStation 5 that I got back when the PS5 kind of first came out. Aim was pretty much, them and Battlefield were pretty much the only ones on the block offering a Pro style controller for the PS5 at that time. And then I dove into building my own Extremerate one, and I'll show you that one too here. The Extremerate controller was a lot of fun, and besides the new PS5 controller, was probably my most reliable. I'm going to get into the aim controller. The aim controller is pretty much unusable now because of the stick drift. We'll get into that later. Right now, let's focus on the Edge controller, and then we'll get on some comparisons. So, comes in an awesome case. It's like hard luggage. It's got a Velcro door here in the back that allows you to charge it while it's in the box. Now, if you compare this to the Xbox Elite 2 controller, I like that case better because it's got the wireless charging dock that just magnetizes. So all you gotta do is set your controller into the case and it will charge. So if you want to use that as an actual charging dock, you can. Now, the Edge controller here is nice because it'll work with the actual PlayStation wireless charging dock, which is nice. But definitely have a few issues with this controller as well. It is nice. It feels premium. The case is great. When you open it up, it has a charge cord here, which also has this locking block that locks the cord into the end of the controller. I don't really know how great of an idea that is because I'd kind of rather the cord get yanked out of my controller rather than taking the chance of the cord pulling my expensive PS5 off the stand or off the desk. So take that for what you will. I'm just not too sure about that. But it comes with two normal height dome sticks here. Pop these out. And then we have two normal height, this one, two taller ones, one that I already have in the controller here. And it comes with the two regular dome sticks, concave ones that are already on it. I kind of wish they had a taller concave one that they included with it, but for what I play, and if you watch any of my other videos, I mostly play Call of Duty and Warzone. So I'm all right with the dome higher joystick, and it works pretty well. It comes with multiple back buttons. I have the half domes, but it does come with two paddles they put on. They're pretty nice, and I'll get into that as well. So I don't do unboxing. That's for you guys. One of the coolest things about getting a new product is unboxing it. So I'll let you guys have the joy of that yourself here. But obviously, an awesome looking controller. You can see how it's got all the PlayStation symbols up in the pad here. I like the black and white color scheme. Not too sure I like this glossy front. It's definitely going to be a fingerprint magnet, and I just like more of a matte color anyways. But it's only a matter of time before Extremerate or somebody else comes up with new front faces you can put on there because they pop off really easy. You should be able to see, well, it's not that easy to see, but you can kind of tell there's some marking there. There's some more of the PlayStation symbols there. That gives you a little bit of grip on here. You can also see these other two little marks next to the charge port. That's where that cable locks into place. It has these little metal arms that come out and lock it in. The dome sticks pop right off and pop right back on. They're very easy to change. Another way I do like the Xbox better is because they're magnet. They just right back on. And then you'll see the domes on here. And then this little thing here, that is the release for this front here. Let's see, I guess I can pop that off. I'll probably shoot right off. Maybe. No? Why is it shooting off? But anyhow, I don't really have fingernails, so it isn't the easiest thing for me to grab because the thing kind of is recessed a little bit. There we go. So then that releases this and gets you to where you can take out your stick modules. I'm not going to bother doing that. You just lift these silver levers here, and that'll allow you to change out the stick modules. And that is the sole reason why I bought this controller. One issue I've been having, and it was specific with my aim controller, is stick drift. And it's a $200 controller, and it completely ruins it. So if I want to spend $40, because I did reach out to AIM to see what it would cost to fix that, $40 to fix it. Then I'm also paying shipping there and back, so that's going to be expensive by the time everything's said and done. So yeah, that's that. But again, I'll get into that a little bit further here. Try not make it so this is not too long of a review, but it gets you the basics on whether or not you want to buy this thing. Because again, I bought this myself, and I'm just trying to help you guys decide if you want to spend your hard-earned money on this. So, I got a lot of time playing with this yesterday. I used it on Ratchet and Clank and Warzone. Awesome controller, a lot of fun. One thing I do wish, like most of these other Pro controllers that are out there, is I wish there was 4 back buttons instead of just 2. And when I initially saw the commercial for this, I thought this is going to be a toggle because this will go up, but it's just magnetized. That's how you take it out. So the actual button press, you can probably hear the clicking, is pulling it down. But how great would that have been if you wanted a quick button action? You could actually flip it up too and have 4 options and remap all the face buttons here to the back. So that's taken a little bit of getting used to it for me because on the Extremerate and the AimController, I have 4 back buttons. So I have all of these buttons mapped to the back for playing Warzone. So you don't got to take your thumb off the joystick at all. Let's see. So that is nice. These are magnetized. They're really not the easiest to get in and out though. Let me throw in one of the paddles for you here. Now, I've been seeing apparently these can go in kind of weird. I think it was, yeah, you can put them in backwards, and people have been showing videos of it down like this, but that's not the correct way that these paddles go in. They're actually listed too, left and right, so you'll be able to see what's right and what's not. That is the correct way, and these paddles go in here, so they're off to the side, which puts it in a perfect spot. But with playing, I've noticed, and probably because it's the property of being a longer lever like this, it is significantly easier to push that button than it is this. You can even feel a little bit more resistance with a half dome than on the lever. So I had a lot more accidental presses with the lever. So I took that off. Another nice thing with the half domes here, if you're looking, is while you're holding the controller. So when I'm playing Ratchet and Clank, I'm not really using these back buttons. It's just a fun game to play. I play with my kids. It's a good game, but it's not like Call of Duty or Warzone where you're going to be kind of competing. So I'm able to play this thing with keeping my hands down here and not even touching these things. And then when I'm playing Warzone, I can just pop my hands up there and ready to go. So I do appreciate the different style of buttons they put on the back. That's definitely a nice feature. The controller itself is pretty much that same plastic that the regular DualSense controller has. However, I don't know, I can't tell if it's actually coated with a rubber coating. I think that's what it's coated with, but this has a soft texture here to it, which I think if you look close has those little Xbox, or not Xbox, PlayStation symbols in it that give it a little bit of a grippy feel. It's a very nice feeling controller. I do like that grip there, um, and it's great. The buttons, I kind of wish PlayStation went the extra distance and put the mouse click buttons in them. Would have been nice, especially for the price of this controller. The joysticks are great. The function buttons, so you have two function buttons here. They're great for changing out your profile on the fly if you're someone who's going to be using that. It is really that easy. I've used it for the volume on my headset. Now you can control the volume even on a wireless headset, but you cannot change the chat audio to volume mix without it being wired. So if you want that capability, you're going to have to get a wireless headset that has it built right in, or use a wired headset. But that removes one of the possibilities. But it makes it pretty easy. Like if you want to change your profile, what you could do is you could set it up on here. I guess you could set up a ton of different profiles on the PlayStation itself, but if you want to set it up on the controller, which will follow you from system to system, if you're going to be moving it from multiple systems, is you just hold the function button and press one of these face buttons, and it will go to whatever profile you have saved. Touchpad works the same. All the front buttons work the same. You have these little sliders here in the back that change your trigger pull. So right now, last night I was playing Warzone. Much shorter pull. Then you have you're in the middle section here, a little bit longer pull, and then you have the full regular pull. One thing that I found was pretty cool with the triggers here is while I was playing Warzone, you put on that short trigger pull, and maybe I didn't really look into this enough probably before doing this video, but I always turned off the vibration on the controller when playing Warzone. I don't know if I did that in the settings of the game or if it was just in here, but I wasn't getting any vibrations. However, when I went over to Ratchet and Clank and I put it to the full length trigger because I do like having that adaptive trigger feel, everything was back to normal. So I don't know if it's built in here that maybe it shuts that stuff off when you're, but it's probably me, probably the game. But I'll continue to look into that either which way. Nice feature. And that's another reason why I went with this controller is I really, really like the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers. That is an awesome, awesome feature of this controller. It's what makes the PlayStation stand out even a little bit more from Xbox. So when you're playing different games, Ratchet and Clank, God of War, different games like that that take advantage of it, it's just cool to have that different style. Even Call of Duty. I never did it on Warzone because, again, I try to play at a faster pace. But if you're doing the campaign and you pull these, it's like every gun has a different trigger pull. It's got a little take up, then your break point, just like a real gun. Every gun has a different trigger, has a little bit of different take up, has its spot where it breaks, and then after travel, all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. And on top of that, with the haptic feedback, it makes the game much more immersive. So that is another reason why I was looking at this, because with the other two controllers I have sitting here, which we'll go over in a little bit here, I changed them over to mouse click. So then that completely gets rid of the haptic feedback, or not haptic, I'm sorry, the adaptive trigger feedback. It's gone. But if you're doing a first person shooter, it's kind of the fastest, best way to go until now. So yeah, they're pretty amazing. I definitely like these triggers. They are not mouse clicks. They're still just regular triggers. You don't hear any clicking in there. It just lessens the travel. Let's see, what else? Battery life sucks on this controller, and I may have found an issue with it playing last night. So again, I have one of the charging docks that I had this sitting on. It was fully charged. Hopped onto Warzone, and I want to say it lasted the whole time. Let me say that. I only played for like an hour and a half. But in that time, it dropped down to 1 bar is what it was showing on the screen when I'd hit the PlayStation button. The controller during one of my games started getting weird to where it was kind of snappy. Where I was looking, it was jumping all over the place as I was trying to look at stuff. And I checked the PlayStation button because I was thinking, all right, maybe the battery's dying. And it was low. And I was in mid-game. I didn't have the cord ready and set up the plug right in to get running that way. So I was like, heck, I'll try shutting it down, turn it back on. Powered it down, powered it back on. It went up to 2 bars again, because I think there's only 3 bars when you're looking at the controller on the icon on the game, and played another 2 matches and didn't have a problem, and it lasted. But I do think it was about to die, and that was a very short amount of time. Now, there's another video on YouTube. If you search it, you should be able to find it, PS5 DualSense Edge breakdown. They actually take this thing completely apart, and they show that this has a substantially smaller battery than even what the regular controller has, probably because they've tried to fit so much other technology in here, including these removable joysticks. That kind of sucks. Now, again, if you're in competitive gaming, you're going to want to be plugged in anyways. But the battery life was so short on this while using it nonstop, it might as well have made this wired. And maybe that's why they made it, so you can plug this in and make it so it's locked in place. Essentially turns it into a wired controller completely. So yeah, not a big fan of that. Not sure if there's something wrong with programming inside this, and they'll release a update in the future, because there was still battery life, because I played probably another half hour after I had that issue where the aiming got real wonky on it and the joysticks were just jumping all over the place. And then I reset the controller and I didn't have another issue. So it has to be something inside here recognizing the battery's getting low and causing some sort of, I would assume, software problem. I'm not that techie with all this stuff, so that I can't answer for you. So that's the basic general breakdown of this. If you're just average user like me, I'm not someone that's getting paid to play video games, so I'm not a competitive player. I do get awfully competitive on Warzone, but again, I'm just your average user. So if you're someone who's looking for a good do everything controller, this is it. Only major drawback is going to be that battery life. And if that was a software issue and they roll out an update, that's going to make it a little bit better, because then you can go on and play for a decent amount of time, or play it until it's dead without having to worry about your controller doing some weird stuff while it's playing, or you're playing. So let me show you some of the other controllers I have here. So the first Pro controller I got into was an AimController. I went with all black because when the PS5 came out, you only had the white controller, and I like the black scheme. And I have one of the first, and now probably one of the only D brand plates that were one of the original ones before PlayStation sued them. So I got that on there. I have the Warzone Damascus front on my PS5, so I go with that kind of look on there, and I prefer the darker look. So here's the controller I went with. I believe these were called the V1 paddles. So you can tell this is older. Their controllers don't look like this anymore. It's a lot lighter because I had the rumble motors removed when I got this. You'll see there's like almost no travel on here. I mean, it's literally a mouse click. Now, I didn't do it on the front bumpers because it saves some money, and I don't really need mouse click ones on there. And then I have the 4 paddles on the back, which you can remove the paddles if you're worried about activating them by accident. And then I have the removable adjustable height thumbsticks. With these aim thumbsticks, I had a problem where this one kept popping off, and I only ever keep the tall one on the right side, so I ended up just gluing it in place. The other option is during gameplay where it's getting end circle in Warzone, I would find myself knocking the thing off, and now I'm playing with this little tiny nub here. Yeah, that wasn't fun. But that being said, great controller. The only problem I continually had with this is initially this left side ended up suffering really bad stick drift. tried to adjust the settings inside the game, and was still getting it to the point like I'd have my guy in Warzone in the prone position, and he'd be shuffling to one side because the stick was still telling him to move over. So you had to manually adjust it while you're playing to try to prevent that from happening. Reached out, as I said earlier in the video, to AIM and asked them about fixing this thing, and it was $40 to fix it, and I had to pay shipping there and back. All right, this is kind of an expensive controller. I'll consider it. However, I had another controller because of working on the Extremerate controllers that I kind of broke a plastic piece, so it was kind of like an extra parts controller, and I thought, I'll try fixing it myself then. Now, if you've watched any videos on how you take these things apart, and even just in general, you can take this faceplate off this bottom piece here and change it out, and there's a bunch of different options out there. When you take it off, there's screws under each side here for taking the controller apart, including 2 under here, and then you'll find more underneath. I'm not getting into that. If you guys want me to show you a video on how to take these things down, I can do that too. There's a lot of other ones out there. But anyhow, the screws that are under here, they put an AimController sticker on it to where if you break it, they're not going to fix it because now they know you tampered with it. So I tampered with it. It is what it is. I can't send it back now. It's my problem. Now it's my piece of garbage. Took it apart, and what I did is there's basically 2 boards here. One board has the stick modules, and the other board I think is the one that has like the buttons. I don't know. I don't know the breakdown, but I do know there's a board that solely has the stick modules on it, and they sandwich together inside. Real easy, basic breakdown. So I took it apart, and the ribbon they use, that AimController uses to connect to where you can remap all the buttons, is soldered in place. So I had to do a little bit of unsoldering and resoldering. So what I did is I took the old board, and that controller I never had any issues with. Figured I could switch it over to here and we'll be all good. Switched it over, got it working. It was working perfect for about 2-3 days, and then the initial stick I had stick drift with was this one. Then it moved over to my aiming stick, which here you go again. So like it's like delayed, and I can't seem to fix it. And then when the stick goes back to here, it's like out here, and then it will come back. I have no idea how to fix it. If someone here watching this video knows how to fix that, that'd be great, so that this thing isn't a piece of garbage. But yeah, so that's the issues I've had here with the aim. Otherwise, the paddle layout for me is perfect. I love the 4 paddles. AIM is coming out with a controller, at least it's on their Kickstarter, which is kind of weird because AIM is a legit company that has their own website. I don't know why they're not just selling it on there. Maybe they're trying to see if there's enough interest from us into wanting it. So with their new paddle system, which is quite a bit different than this, there's like a bump here. And they put their own little spin on kind of what PlayStation did with theirs. Is there's a slider in that bump now, and what I'm assuming it does is it will slide a mouse click button into place, so your trigger will be like this one, which is pretty nice. Slide it out and it gives you the actual factory controller, the regular one. So then you're going to have the adaptive triggers and all the good stuff that an actual PlayStation controller has. The price is not terrible. It's probably about $20 more than this one, but it's a Kickstarter, so I'm kind of hesitant. And again, I'm spending my own money on this stuff, so I don't know if I want to roll the dice and take that chance. I know it's backed by AIM, but why are they doing it on Kickstarter? Makes me hesitant. Would love to get my hands on one. Would love to review it. So if AIM, somehow you end up watching this, I'd love to do a full review on one. So look for that. If it goes well on Kickstarter, I mean, it's inevitable that they're going to end up listing on their regular website. And again, the advantage that controller has is the advantage of why I ended up going with this instead of another aim or trying Battle Beaver or something else out is you can go back to having the adaptive triggers for other games, which you kind of want it for. It's awesome. I mean, the other option is too, you can keep a regular stock controller. And I do have another stock controller that I keep for my wife because we'll play Call of Duty split screen, which actually I'm hoping we'll play tonight. I would stream that. It'd probably be pretty fun. But the problem with that is when you're doing split screen, it mashes everybody's audio together. So it's kind of rough. So here is the controller I built. I actually like this thing a lot. And I was more intrigued by the PS5 DualSense Edge Controller and the paddle system and everything else as to why I moved away from this one. A couple things with this seem a little flimsy, and you'll see I have a different color trigger here because some of the parts aren't that solid and it broke on me. Is because it's Extremerate. You can build a Pro controller from their stuff for a pretty dang good price. So what you'll see here, I'll go over some of this stuff, is I changed out, I went with the black and blue, then blue line kind of theme here. And again, I went with the black controller because at the time I built this, PlayStation wasn't putting out black controllers. All they had was the white controller. So the black and the blue theme. I went with the adjustable, changeable thumbsticks with the blue base. These just pop on and off. Great, haven't had any issues with them. It's kind of the texture in here is kind of like PS4 controller. I can't remember, but it's nice texture in there. It's got little bumps in there, concave, nice. No problems at all with that. I'll put these triggers up here now. The triggers, when you take this thing apart, they're a little more complicated, but it's still pretty easy. Extremerate puts some pretty good videos out there that helps you figure out how to install this stuff. So I went with it's not quite a mouse click. I mean, it is, but it's got a little travel, a little take up before you get to it, and then it's a very soft, quiet. Oh, you probably can't hear it. Actuation of the trigger, and then same with here. Now these ones are a little louder. Awesome. I actually really like that take up. Now I ended up putting the stock trigger back on this left side, and what maybe may have happened is that side probably gets more pressure out of me because when I'm playing Warzone, as much as I play Warzone, I'm holding this side down constantly because I'm aiming with it. And it's putting a lot of pressure. There's a metal rod that goes through, and that's what it hinges on. The blue one that was on that side ended up breaking at the hinge, snapping in two. So it was just loose and it wasn't working right. So I had to take it apart and put the other one in, which was a pain in the butt because you basically have to take the entire controller apart to get to these modules and to get to the parts to change that out. But change that out and now it works fine again. Now, they fixed a couple things since, because I was one of the first people to probably build one of these. And I reached out to them and I explained the issue, and they said basically that's just part of build. Now, they fixed it. They ended up putting rubber things in there to help keep the rattle down. But I ended up putting clicky buttons on all the front. I don't know if you can hear it. But it caused a little bit of a rattle in my controller. Again, not a big deal, but I reached out to them. They said it is what it is. Then they end up going out and they fix it. And if you get the newer clicky front face buttons, you won't have that issue. So I like it. It's not needed. It doesn't help your game at all. I like having that tactile feel when pressing the buttons. What else? So the back buttons then. Comes with this whole kit. I want to say it was only like $40, $45. Pretty darn cheap, especially for a 4-button back panel kit here. Very easy to put together. You don't have to do any soldering if you don't want to worry about remapping this. And these, I don't know why you'd want to essential start and select button is what they would have been in the old days. Now it's a share button and whatever else it is. But why would you want to remap that stuff? Or the triggers. You can't remap the triggers the way I have this set up, but you can do it. It just requires some extra work. All I was interested in remapping are these buttons, or these buttons. So you guys take that for what it's worth. I would assume most people are like me and they're only interested in keeping the thumb here and not having to move over here if needs be. Warzone, I got to hit that for the map, that's it. But I wouldn't want to move that back here anyways. So if you look at this here, I believe this is what Extremerate calls their Rise 4.0 kit. And it just means you got 4 buttons. You got 2 of these here, and you got 2 here. This is your remappable button. You can hold that down and remap them on the fly. Awesome feature. They sit placed perfectly. It is a little weird because you got to kind of raise your finger out, because if you look this way, you can see it sits above. So you have these down here, and then you got to raise up and hit these up here. Not a big deal. I got like my jump, it used to be the slide when you could slide cancel, but now it's diving. You hold it down in Warzone. But they work great. They do feel a little flimsy. I wish they had some metal ones because you could feel flex in them because of how thin they are. Let's see if I can get that in there. There, you can see it's pretty thin. Let's see if you can see the flex in it. See, it's actuated there, but it's got some flex. You can see moving. Big deal, not big deal. That's up to you guys. I've been using this a long time. It hasn't broke, so they're relatively durable. Hasn't broken me yet. Over time and use, I would suppose it's a possibility because it is such thin plastic. But yeah, I like it. Haven't had a problem with it. And then let's see if you see here. There's a rubber grip here that's super nice. Keeps it from sliding out of your hand. Great controller. Have not had a single issue with this one other than when this broke. And again, probably more my fault and maybe weak plastic that Extremerate was selling. Everything else works perfectly. These are very easy controllers to take apart. I do have a controller I made myself with Extremerate parts for the Xbox. I could go over that, but not nearly as nice as this, and a heck of a lot harder to build because you got to solder everything. So that's the breakdown of what I have here. There are some other ones out there. There's Evil controllers. Battle Beaver was another one I looked at, and what kept me away from Battle Beaver is you have to choose where you put the back buttons. They're buttons. They're not paddles on the back of a Battle Beaver. And I wasn't sure where the positioning I should put the buttons at because you can put them wherever you want on the back. And I kind of wish they had, like, for even $5, a module they could send you where it shows you where the button layout is. Or maybe sell you that for $5, then you decide to buy the controller, they credit you $5. Something like that, because now you're choosing to buy and you're getting a controller that you're going to like that much more because it fits your hand right. That is one reason I didn't try Battle Beaver. Battle Beaver, if you ever end up watching this, I would love to do a review on one of your controllers as well. But unfortunately, I am not a rich man, so I'm not going to be buying a ton of controllers here. Which does remind me, if you guys want to see more stuff like this, and if this helps you out, please like and subscribe. It'll help my channel. It'll help me grow. I can probably then get into a little bit better editing here and make some better product for you guys to check out here and give you some better reviews. I'm trying to give you an honest review on whether this is worth your money. If you are not worried about having those adaptive triggers on the PlayStation 5, personally, this is the way to go. It's a lot cheaper. You could turn the controller that you already have that came with the PS5 into a Pro controller pretty easily with a little know-how. If you're worried about that and you don't want 4 back buttons, I think this is going to be the way to go. Now, for me, again, it's taken a little bit for me to get used to having to jump over here for a couple of the buttons, seeing as there's only 2 on the back. I really like this controller, and this is going to be my main controller from here forward. unless AIM or Battle Beaver or somebody else wants to give me a shot here at reviewing one of their controllers. They could send one in, and I'll give it a real honest review. The AIM controller here, absolutely loved it. This is one of their older ones. I'm sure I would love their new stuff. They have a really good warranty. I was outside of their warranty time frame when it came to the stick drift. I think they have since updated their warranty and actually even offer a better one. What I have with this. So it's up to you guys. I don't know where to tell you to go with this. It is a great controller. I love this controller. I love this paddle layout in the back. And the newer versions look even nicer. But depending on what you get into, you can spend like 300 and some bucks, I think, on an AIM controller. The controller already came with my PS5. I bought this for like 10 bucks. This might have been $5, the new touchpad cover. These might have been 10 bucks, maybe 15. The buttons were probably like 10 bucks. There's maybe 10 or 11 bucks for the clicky kit. This is off the top of my head. I don't remember. I just know it wasn't that much. I think the whole Rise kit, which was the 4 controllers and the grip, and they do have sales a lot of times on Amazon and on their own site. It was somewhere between $40 and $50, but I want to say like $45 was it. But I think I've seen them on sale recently for as low as 40. Again, don't quote me on that. Do your research, look into it. But ultimately, you can make a Pro controller for cheaper than what you're going to buy either of these for. So if you're not worried and you want the short trigger pull, you want the back buttons, and you want to save some money, build it yourself. You're definitely going to save some money, and and reach out to me if you're going to build one. You're having some issues. As long as you don't get into the soldering on this one. I didn't do any soldering on this one. I did on my Xbox One. I can help you out. So I guess that about wraps it up. If you guys have any questions, any ideas how to fix my other controller here, please comment down below. Let me know what's up. You got anything else you want to see? Maybe in time I can get it on here, get a review done. I have some nice headsets. I don't know if you guys would be interested in seeing my honest, down to earth, simple nobody review on. I have the Penrose X by Odyssey. Originally, I bought that because it could be used on both the PS5 and the Xbox. Now I just keep it on the Xbox Series X. And I have a Razer, what was it, the Kira Pro, I think, on the PS5 now. It's an alright headset. Does the job. It's not as nice as the Odyssey, but I could do a review on those if you guys would be interested. I am kind of looking at getting a new Xbox controller. I ended up buying a scuff controller for the Xbox, and that broke. I can get into that too. It broke pretty darn easy too. A little disappointed in that because scuffs are pretty expensive too. That is something else. I don't have a scuff PS5 controller. Not 100% sure I'd like their layout, although it's probably pretty similar to this, where you're moving outside and inside. So might like it. But again, you're spending a boatload of money for a scuff controller that does not have the ability to turn the adaptive triggers back on. I think they might need to adjust their prices. Scuff, same thing. I would love to do a review on your controllers. Any review that's done on this channel will be true, honest, and accurate, despite any sort of sponsorship or if you guys send me anything, but I would love to do one. And I guess that's about it from here forward on the controllers. If you guys think I missed anything, again, give me a shout out. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys again soon. I'm about to hit 1,000 miles on the one wheel GT. I'll be doing another video on the one wheel and the Meepo Hurricane here soon. Once I hit 100 miles on the Meepo and 1,000 on the GT, plan on doing another video and comparison with the two of them. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope you are all having a great day.